Hello, everyone. It's Maura.
And Harp.
And we're back with another Culips episode for you.
Yes, and check out our website, culips.com. That's CULIPS.com. Because there you can find all our older episodes.
And our older episodes are just as interesting as our new episodes. Because the expressions we talked about a couple years ago are still the expressions we're using today.
Exactly. And also, when you're on the website, you can become a member. And this is super important because you help support us, but you also help yourself by learning better.
Right. In all our learning materials, you get transcripts for all the episodes we have. You get more explanations of the expressions we use and quizzes to help test yourself.
So today we're doing a Chatterbox episode, and that's where we chat. We talk about different topics. Sometimes we interview people.
Right. And Harp and I love to chat. Particularly today's topic is very interesting.
It is very interesting. Today we're going to talk about dating.
Right. Specifically being on the prowl.
Yes, when you're looking for someone to date.
Right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is slang that is used when people are looking to find someone that they're physically attracted to.
Yes. And then we'll talk about places where people are on the prowl.
Right. So those are the places where people go when they're trying to find a new boyfriend or girlfriend or some kind of love interest.
Yes. And then the last topic is we're going to talk about some types of people that you might see on the prowl.
So first, let's start by talking about expressions. And we've already mentioned one, to be on the prowl. And this is an animal reference. When an animal is on the prowl, this means they're walking around in the forest or the jungle and they're looking for something to eat.
Yeah, they're hunting. They're on the prowl.
Right. And we use the same expression for people who are out, usually at night, looking for someone to date.
Exactly. To be on the prowl. They're looking for someone to date.
Now, when someone is on the prowl, they might actually pick up someone.
And to pick up someone doesn't mean that they lift them up. It means that they start talking to them, get their attention. They pick up someone.
Right. So at a bar, if a person was there and they saw another person that they were interested in, and they went over to that person and tried to make a conversation with them, that would be picking them up.
Yeah, and they often use a pickup line, which is a one-line statement that's supposed to be kind of smart or witty. Sometimes it's funny to try to get the person's attention.
Right. Harp, let's think of some pickup lines that we know.
Oh, one I remember is when a guy comes up to a girl and he says, "Did it hurt?" And then she'll say, "Did what hurt?" "When you fell from heaven."
Oh, that's a good one. I know another one that's a little bit similar. So one person goes up to the other person and looks at the tag on the back of their shirt. And then they pretend to read it. And then that person says, "Just like I thought, 100% made in heaven."
I haven't heard that one, but yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes there's some classic lines. And I would say most of the time people don't actually use them because everyone knows them, so they just won't be taken seriously.
Yeah, exactly. So you hear about some classic pickup lines, but where they're used.
I think one of the oldest pickup lines that might actually be used is, "Hey, do you come here often?"
Yep, that's a very classic pickup line that I could see people using very often.
Right, because you really just ask the other person if they come to this bar often or if they've been here before. So you can, at the very least, have a conversation about the place where you are.
Yes, exactly.
Now, if someone is on the prowl, so they're looking to find someone they're interested in, and then they see someone at a bar and pick them up, they might also hook up with that person.
Yes. To hook up is when you kiss a person or when you end up going home with the person.
Right. So if two people hook up, it means that they've made some kind of connection and they're attracted to each other. It might just be for that night, or it could be long term, but I'll explain more about that in our learning materials if you want to know more about hooking up.
Yes, so we talked about to be on the prowl, to pick up, and to hook up.
Right. Now, if you're someone who is on the prowl, it's important to know where to go. Where can you meet people? If you're in your 20s or even your 30s and you're looking to meet someone, where can you go to meet people?
And this brings us to our second topic of where people go when they're on the prowl.
So the most common place people go is to clubs or bars, because that's where there are a lot of younger people, and people are usually drinking alcohol, which means that they become more relaxed or friendlier, and they're more open to talking to strangers.
Yeah, definitely.
There are clubs that are for younger people. There are clubs that are for older people. There are places that have a different style of music. But all of those things don't matter when you're talking about a meat market.
Yes, a meat market.
A meat market is the kind of club where people specifically go to hook up or pick up people.
Yes, exactly. You can go to a normal club and people are there just to have a good time, to dance. But a meat market is where people are there and they are on the prowl.
Right. Of course, you can meet people at any club, but a meat market feels like everyone is looking around at who's available and checking everyone out, trying to figure out who they might dance with later in the night.
Yeah, exactly.
And in this case, I guess the people are like meat. And when you're at a market, you go and you look at all the different kinds of meat and you choose which piece you would like. It's kind of the same idea.
Yeah, not a really nice idea, but it definitely exists.
Yep. So a meat market is a certain kind of bar where a lot of single people go when they're hoping to meet someone new.
You know, I have a funny story about a meat market here in Montreal.
Oh, do tell.
It's a club. I've never been there before, but some of my friends were going. So we all went, and we were all around 28 or 29 years old. And we get to this club, and every other person in the club is maximum 19 years old. It's 18 and 19-year-olds.
Oh, no. You must have felt out of place.
Definitely. But it was a meat market. They were all there to meet up and so forth. I felt like I was a chaperone at a high school dance.
That's true. Sometimes, as you get a little bit older, people still go out when they're 29 or 30, especially in a big city. But there are certain places where only younger people tend to go.
Yeah, we didn't stay there for very long.
A lot of bars and clubs have an event which is called Ladies' Night. This is also a place where people might go if they're on the prowl.
Yeah, exactly. Because for a ladies' night, it usually means that there's some sort of drink special or food special for all the ladies that come. So the ladies come because it's cheaper for them, and then the men come because there are ladies there.
Exactly. It's quite logical when you think about it.
Yes, definitely.
So women come to Ladies' Night because they get some kind of special deal. It may be that they don't have to pay to get in, or they get a deal with the drinks. And like you said, Harp, because there's a lot of women there, a lot of men come. So there's a lot of people, women and men, who are looking to meet people.
Yeah, exactly. And you also have this when you have a happy hour, which is when a bar or a club will have specials on drinks and food for certain hours. And usually it's between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m.
Right. So oftentimes people might go after work, but in a big city especially, it brings a young crowd. So that might also be a time when people are out on the prowl.
Yeah, exactly. It brings out the younger people, the people who don't have the kids to go home to or the families to go home to.
Right. So there's one more thing we wanted to talk about, and that was the types of people you might see out on the prowl.
Yes, so you'll see a lot of different types of characters out on the prowl.
Right. But there are a couple specific names we wanted to mention. The first one is metrosexual.
Metrosexual. What does this mean, Maura?
Well, it is talking about a male who really cares about his appearance. Now, you might think, of course, a guy cares what he looks like, but in the past, it was more important for women to get all dolled up and do their hair and do their makeup. But more and more, it's important for men to also look good. So that describes a kind of man who is focused on his appearance.
Exactly. And metrosexual, when you think of metro, it's thinking about a metropolis, a big city, and this is where it normally happens, that guys care more about their appearance. They care about what shoes they're wearing and if it matches with their pants and their shirt and all of that.
Right. You know, this is a really new expression. I can even remember the first time I heard it. It was about 8 or 9 years ago, and a friend that I was working with said that a guy she knew was metrosexual, and I had to ask what it was because I had never heard it.
Yeah, I agree. It's a newer term, and it basically just means a guy who dresses well and takes care of his appearance.
Right. A metrosexual guy might even get a manicure or pluck his eyebrows.
Yes, exactly. Things that you would normally think of girls doing.
Right. And it's now socially acceptable for guys to do that kind of stuff too.
Yes, exactly.
Now, there's one more expression for an older woman who is out on the prowl.
Yes, a cougar.
Yes. So, a cougar is slang for an older woman who is single and looking to meet someone.
Exactly. And the weird thing about cougar is that there is no male equivalent.
Right. So it's a bit unfair that women have a funny name when they're older and out at bars looking to meet people, but a man doesn't seem to have one. I can't think of one.
Yeah, and the thing that's a little bit special about cougar is that it's usually an older woman who's trying to meet a younger man.
Mm-hmm. So a cougar might be trying to deny that she's getting older and going out to the bar and trying to stay young.
Yeah, wearing very young clothes and looking for the younger man.
There's even a TV show called Cougar Town. Have you heard of it, Hart?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it, though.
I've only seen one episode, but it actually stars Courtney Cox, who was on Friends. But the show is about women who are older, in their 40s, who are single and go to bars and are looking to meet younger men.
That's funny. I've never seen the show.
Yeah, you might like it.
Maybe I'll check it out. You might also see someone out who people would call desperate.
Right. And that means that this person is on the prowl and is hoping to hook up with almost anyone.
Yeah, they're the kind of person that you'll see talking to anyone and everyone and just trying really hard, using a lot of cheesy pickup lines.
Right. This kind of guy might be dancing with a girl who turns him down. So then he just moves on to another girl that's right beside him. And it doesn't look very good, but you can tell this person is really just trying to hook up with someone, anyone.
Yeah, so you would call that person desperate.
Right. So we could say that guy is desperate.
Exactly.
So it's a fun time when you maybe are younger and single and you're going out to the bar. So these could be some fun expressions for you to use if the bars that you're going to sound like meat markets.
Exactly. Okay, so let's wrap it up and recap what we talked about today.
Right. So first we gave you some expressions that people use when they're looking to find someone they're physically attracted to. So this person could be on the prowl, and they might also try to pick up someone and hopefully for them, hook up with someone.
Exactly. And then we talked about places where people who are on the prowl go.
And they go to all kinds of clubs and bars, including meat markets, and they attend ladies' night.
They might even go for a happy hour.
They might. The last thing we talked about was the types of people that might be out on the prowl at these meat markets.
Yes, we talked about metrosexual.
And we talked about cougars and
desperate people.
Right. So if you want to learn a little bit more about these expressions, become a member, and then you'll have our more detailed explanations. You'll also get transcripts and a quiz.
So check out the website, culips.com. That's culips.com.
And say hi to us on Facebook. So Harp, do you want to go out tonight?
Sure, why not? Let's go dancing.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone.